What's up guys, Matt here with BleepinJeep, everything off-road, none of the boring stuff. Today I'm going to show you how to properly tie down, this side, your Jeep or vehicle to the trailer. This video is brought to you by WD-40 and I'll show you why here in just a minute. Let's get started. Alright guys, to properly tie down your vehicle to the trailer, there's more than just tying it down. We need to load it properly as well. So there's some things I want to look at before I get the vehicle up on the trailer. Well, I forgot my tape measure, but let's use the rule of thumb. So this is what we're going to look at right now. You want to see how far of a gap there is above your rear axle here, and the best way to do that is just go from your tire to the fender flare or whatever you've got here. This is the way my truck sits naturally. Now when we get the Jeep loaded on the trailer, we definitely don't want to have a larger gap here. That would be really bad, and that means your trailer is loaded too far to the rear and it's pulling up on the truck. That would get really sketchy going down the highway. You hit a bump and all of a sudden your rear end of your truck lifts up off the ground. That can happen, and you lose a lot of traction doing it that way, and your trailer's not going to pull very well. On the other hand, you don't want this gap to shrink so far that it's squishing your truck down, because then you're lifting the front of the truck. What you want is the trailer to be loaded so that it's compressing the rear springs just a little bit, but not too much. Another thing we're going to look at once the trailer gets loaded is this pivot point in between the tires and the axles of the trailer. So the leaf springs pivot on that, and when we get the Jeep loaded, you don't want that to be turned so much that it's hitting on one side or the other. In fact, if it was perfectly flat still, that would probably mean that your trailer is loaded just right. Alright, next we're going to load the Jeep and then find that sweet spot. A few tips for you here. Make sure to put your truck in park. Make sure to pull the emergency brake. If it helps, you can put it in four-wheel drive, and you can chock the tires if you need to. You don't want that truck moving back and forth too much. Also, try to do this on a level ground. If you try to load going downhill, things are going to get pretty sketchy. I tried that once, and my whole truck, trailer, whole shebang took off down the hill. Not fun. Going up a hill is not much fun either, so try to do it on level ground. I don't use ramps, but if you need ramps, put ramps down on your trailer, and some trailers come with jacks on the back to keep the trailer from bowing up. If you don't have that, you could put a block of wood under the back. Alright, it's a pretty extreme example, but I just wanted to show you what it's going to look like if you load your trailer wrong. Right now I've got it all the way to the back. You can see that there's not much room here. There's a lot of room here. This piece in the middle is completely off kilter. That's not good. The tire in the rear is squishing where the one in the front is not. And also, if you look at the truck, remember what we said before? Yeah, it's higher. So what that means is we're loaded so that the trailer is actually lifting up on the back of the truck. Not good. That's gonna bring the axle and the tires off the ground in an extreme situation on the highway. Don't want that. Now I've gone to the extreme opposite of the spectrum just to show you. I've loaded the Jeep all the way to the front of the trailer. Now all the weight is on the truck. If you look, it's completely squatted down. The tire is squished. The chains are dragging. This is just not a good situation. Let's find the middle ground. Okay, check it out now. That spring piece in the middle is very level. I've loaded this Jeep enough to know that you want the tire, the front edge of the tire, to be right in line with this piece right here. You can take a marker, you can take some paint, do whatever you need to, or you just become familiar with your Jeep and trailer over time. But right there is where my truck and trailer likes to be loaded. Now if we come over here, you'll notice that it's just slightly down from where it was sitting level, so that's good. You know that there's a little more weight on the tongue, but not too much. And it might take a little fine tuning. You may get on the highway and have a little vibration, move it forward a couple inches, see what happens, move it back a couple inches. Eventually you'll find that sweet spot for your truck and trailer. Now let's talk about the straps themselves. There's a few good ways to tie down, but there's a million ways to do it wrong. I'm gonna recommend that you get these. These are Max Customs. You can get this or something similar. They're not a sponsor of this video. I paid for these with my own money. But people love these because they have a secure connection. They're not gonna fall off. As opposed to, this is a regular strap that people use a lot of times. This is not safe. You put this over your trailer, you hit a bump, that thing comes off. Maybe you tie down to your axle, but your tires go flat. This thing comes off. If there's any looseness at any point, this thing is gonna slip off. Also, there's so much strap here. These straps are for going over the top of a giant load. When you're strapping down a vehicle, you're just going from here to there. That's why these Max Customs are very short. I think they come in 6 foot, 4 foot, something really short like that. And that alleviates the need to figure out what to do with all this leftover strap. The next thing we should talk about is tie down points on your trailer. If you don't have a ring like this, I really recommend that you go to Tractor Supply, buy one, and weld it on, or take it to a welding shop and have them weld it on. These are very important. What you don't want to do is strap down to the back like this. Look at that. This thing is going to snap. How do I know? I've tried it before. I didn't have these rings at first. I was towing like this for a little bit, snapped it. It just breaks the metal. There's too much tension in that. You want these metal pieces to be perfectly straight from the trailer to the axle. If you have to go to this back bumper thing, use another axle strap and go around it like this so that you're now in a perfectly straight line. It's not good though still, because if you say strap it like this and it moves over, then you're going to loosen your load. So the best thing to do is have it on a D-ring like this. Can't go anywhere, it's not going to slide. Now they also make pocket stakes similar to this that drop down in the pocket and have a hook on them. The bad thing about that is it's great for strapping loads over the top of your trailer sideways, but you don't want your strap to have to go around the tire. That's no good. On the front here, I've seen a lot of people tie down right around here. Looks great. What happens when that slips over and now all of a sudden you're completely loose? Another thing, people go around here. That's a very sharp object right there. That's going to cut through your strap in no time. You don't want to put a hook on here. Like I said before, even though this has the positive connection, it only works on a D-ring. It doesn't work right here because as soon as they're slack, it comes loose. Attaching up here looks okay, but there's a lot of leverage on here. So if this thing's not welded on good, there's too much leverage to pull, and all that weight is down here at these welds. It's best to go to the bottom of the trailer somewhere that's very sturdy. Okay, moving on. Now on the Jeep side, what's the best place to tie down to? You got it, it's the axle. Now, obviously, there's some vehicles you're not going to be able to get to the axle. You might have to go to the tire. There's different methods for that. But if you can, you always want to go to the axles. Make sure, though, that you're not going over a brake line. If you've got something in the way, watch out where these axle straps are going. These things can cut right through a brake line. You don't want to get on your wheel speed sensors if you have those. So be careful where you put those. Next, I like to put the ratcheting mechanism so that I can pull it from this side. If it was from the other side and had to pull this way, you know, it's not at a good angle. So put that on there like that. The other side's going to go straight to your D-ring behind it on the trailer. Now, this is the part a lot of people get wrong. You don't want to pull all the slack out of it and tighten it down like that. Why? Because this piece right here needs windings to hold it. That's what keeps the tension on this strap and keeps it from coming loose. You want there to be a lot of slack so that you get at least 2 windings in there of the strap before it takes hold. Now, another good thing about this is if this thing will hold quite a bit of strap. So the further you pull it back like this, the less strap you're going to have to deal with. I've got it down where I can pretty much start from right here. By the time I get up here, there will be no strap to deal with, which is really nice. Look at that. I don't even have to tie this up and out of the way. I just leave it like that. Alright, same thing on the other side. Now the rule is you always want to have 4 straps, 4 attachment points. That doesn't mean one strap going over around the axle a couple times and then back to here. That is not 4 attachment points. That's not 2 attachment points. You want 4 different straps to 4 different attachment points. Now I know what some of you are saying, you need to crisscross these. That's BS. The reason people do that is because their trailer is too small and their strap is too long and they end up having to crisscross them. You want a big enough trailer, you want to be able to go straight to the axle. There's no reason at all to crisscross. Now, these are a little bit loose and that's okay. We're going to go do the other ones. That'll tighten these up and then we'll come back and tighten these again. Alright, so the front is the same way. Watch out for brake lines, speed sensors, anything like that. I'm just going to put this right through here. If you've got brake lines, go under those. Alright, I'm not sure if I should have to say this or not, but your vehicle should be in park with the emergency brake on if you have one. Now we're going to tighten the strap. Tightening the front should tighten the rear. So you're just going to pull this as hard as you can. Check this out, guys. I've got I wouldn't say dangerous, but it could potentially be a dangerous situation. This thing is all corroded. So that's where this WD-40 Specialist Dirt and Dust Resistant Dry Lube spray is going to come in. It's a PTF spray. That's the same kind of thing as Teflon. And let's see if we can break this loose. Holy cow. I really wasn't expecting one spray to do the trick, but that stuff worked. I've also noticed that the mechanisms on these ratchets are getting very hard to pull, and so I'm going to use this on there as well. The great thing about this spray is that it's a dry lube, so it has no oily residue, which means it doesn't attract dirt and grime. Now if you just put some sort of regular oil on here, then you go down the road, gravel road or dirt road, and all of a sudden this whole thing is just caked full of dust and mud and grit. Oh yeah. Even these small ones, look how hard it is to pull that strap out of there. A lot of times I'll just throw these away because I think they're no good. But really, all it needs is some lubrication. Let's wrap it up a few times and see if that made a difference. Oh yeah. Once you've got the front tight, come to the back and make sure the back is tight. You want that to be nice and snug. Alright, so I'm ready to tow across country. Just remember the rules, guys. Make sure the trailer is loaded evenly and make sure that you're strapped down with 4 different straps to 4 different points. I like to go to the axles. If you think that your suspension is going to be loose, then I would recommend getting 1 more strap or 2 more straps and additionally going to the frame and pulling that to the side. But I've towed like this for years. The suspension has never been a problem. I'll leave a link down below for those straps on Amazon, and I'll also leave a link to this WD-40 spray down below where you can find that. Now, I'm sure I missed a lot of things. If you have any tips or tricks, please leave those in the comments below. And if you have any crazy stories about mishaps of trailer towing, leave those below as well. I appreciate you watching. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Oh, don't forget that stupid bell. Click it down below. Bye.